Welcome. Come in. Fresh victims for my ever-growing army of the undead.
Sir, you have to let go of the button.
Oh, son of a bitch.
A special welcome to all of you. My button chooses not to work. Go figure. That's what we want. We want this. Welcome on in to the eMLB Sportsnet studios for tonight's edition of the 2031 eMLB Amateur Draft. Screwy buttons indeed. I sure hope that will work later. Let's do a test. Go out of the park. There we go. It worked this time, but don't know why it didn't last time. First off, before we get started, EVC, thank you very much for the 44-month resub. Much appreciated. And also, Nas Base, thank you for sending everybody over to this special edition of the Fluffy Kitty Ninja Show. We are as ready as we can be. First things first, we want to show the duds. We're wearing purple tonight in honor of my lovely mother. Let's get that out of the way first. Pirate, thank you very much for the Jedi Cats to start us off tonight.
I am Optimus Prime.
Angels call the best player.
Angels call the best player. Indeed. That's good to know. Tom, thank you very much for that. Pirate, thank you very much for Jedi Cats throughout the chat. One Valentine, welcome on in and enjoy the gifted sub to the world-famous Fluffy Kitty Ninja emotes. Of course, we'll call them that because my daughter is the graphic artist behind us that does it. So again, I am wearing purple tonight in honor of my lovely mother, Nancy, the Fluffy Kitty Ninja Nana, as you know her. She's having a tough go of recovering from her, she had her pancreatic cancer surgery last Friday. She's lost half of her pancreas. She has lost her entire spleen. And to say she is miserable is an understatement. So, Mom, we love you. That is why I'm wearing purple. And again, very, very soon, like end of the month, the 6th annual Fluffy Kitty Ninja Charity Streamathon will informally begin. We're still doing our usual pomp and circumstance in the midsummer, but I am beginning it earlier, and I will have a very specific challenge that we will be announcing at Memorial Day weekend time, where we will be looking for you to assist us, especially in striking out pancreatic cancer. It is never a good situation when you have that, and we keep our fingers crossed and try to stay optimistic. We will do our best, for lack of a better term that I love to use, we will do our best to make lemonade out of the lemons that my mom has dealt with. But we are never giving up on our true commitment when we do our charity streamathon. We are always focused on striking out cancer in kids, but we're also going to put a little jab. We're going to get a second K on the day to pancreatic cancer as best as we can this coming year. All right, so just in case you haven't been here before, I am the commish. My friends will call me LB. We definitely say F you to cancer around here, but leave those four-letter words not on this show, especially in today's special event, as we will be introducing all of the first two rounds of the eMLB Amateur Draft. Already starting off on a terrible note. No, Joe, that's just you. I will turn the music down further. I thought it was perfect, but Pirate says otherwise, so all right. Hopefully that's better, Pirate. How's that? All right, so as we're saying, we got two rounds of the MLB Amateur Draft to do, and it's already started off with a glitch. Blame Cody, everybody. WTF. What the hell, Cody? Already butchering things. He had his auto pick on with absolutely nobody on the list. So, yeah, that's an absolute typical Cody. That's a hit batter from Cody. There. Now, that isn't even, and you know what's even more fun? That's not even the first pick of the draft. But that's what the auto says. So, there we are. All right, 2031 eMLB Amateur Draft will be underway here momentarily. So what can you expect if you are not a regular here? Well, you can continue to expect drops. We tried to get you special drops. HQ said, not right now, too early in the year. So with that said, enjoy at least the 5 drops. We'll enjoy having you here for a bit, but we hope that we'll entertain you enough to stick around further. The first round in the eMLB Amateur Draft is a little bit different than many other drafts of leagues that you may have been in. We do a lot of pop and circumstance around here. It is why many of you have considered it our best show that we do all year. Maybe it's because you like seeing me decked out. Who knows? I have no idea. But what I do know is this. We try our best to give you things
Sean
like this.
Paxler asked me, the wearing of black and purple. Is this a funeral or a Ravens game? Let's not even get into Cody Cochin and his auto pick, which was wrong also. Oh, sure, black and purple. The universal colors for, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to pretend like I do. As for Cody Cochin and the auto pick classic move when you want to blame a computer for your own mistakes. You know it. It's like they say, if all else fails, just put it on autopilot and pray for a miracle.
Thanks, Sean Paxler, using Tangia. Sending in Eric Cartman to provide his thoughts. AI Cartman, that is, giving his opinion on things. So, again, first round will be a little extra pomp and circumstance. We are a small little shtick. We're no major network, so we don't have all the fancy graphics and stuff. But we do have some graphics, and you can thank my wonderful daughter, Rocky Draws, for her efforts on helping us look as fresh as you could expect for a brand getting ready to turn 25 years young. All right, it is amateur draft time. We are excited to do this. Let's get started. Very simply, we will look at the Sacramento Athletics as our first team that will be making their selection here shortly. So, Cody, who moved over from the Pittsburgh Pirates where he won 2 world champions, decided that he, the only player on your list. Well, you butchered that too, because the auto pick, if you go look at Stats Plus. And for those who happen to step away and aren't sure who who's been selected, there is the link. You can check out that link. Keep it saved. It will update. Again, the first pick is not correct. Everyone point at Cody and say WTF. So Athletics working on trying to build some talent. They've got excellent stuff in two-way star Tim Lane. They definitely have hopefuls in players like Ellie De La Cruz, Ezekiel Tovar, Louis Castillo, Jamie Rockwell included, and they're also hoping to ride some veteran talent in Yasiel Pino and Brennan Trevino. But as you see, hasn't translated to a lot of success yet, but it will give them the opportunity to continue to build as they will have the first pick here. It is not Chris Blanco, that I can assure you. It's already been turned off there, Ken. Trust me, I already turned off any auto picks so that we don't have this happen again. So, there are 820 players in this draft. Tonight, you will be watching 73 of those players be selected. The first 36 are already in the can. Players or GMs will likely figure out where they're landing. What I'm going to ask general managers to do for this first round, let me control Stats Plus. I will enter players as we go. Cody did not rank all 820 players. I think he did maybe 4. All right, so we'll get ourselves all up and ready to go here tonight. I think it's time we'll get that first selection entered and introduced. A lot of different directions that you could go in this pool. If we go by what Out of the Park provided, which let's take a peek at that real quick, then this would be your top 10 list in order. I can assure you that that list is just that. The question is, will any of these players possibly fall off of the top 10 list? Yeah, and it is nowhere close to the mock draft or anything that Backfields Media has provided. So we're going to love the potential feedback that you will see as these selections come forward. So I am going to get us started. Now, I want to remind, this is for guys like Pirate. I am not going to be selecting a player in the file, and I'm not sending any updated files mid-draft. This is a very simple, you're going to lean heavily on Stats Plus to figure out what's available and who you go with while you use Out of the Park. I am trying to save time, and especially with my mom in the hospital likely until the end of this week, where I'm not even sure if I'm still going on a business conference. You can't find the login for Stats Plus. What are you talking about? There's that. Let me make sure. I believe I have you properly set up. I don't want to screw anything up here, so give me a moment. Associate users. Yep. Your Gmail stroker is what I have your account connected to, just FYI. Yeah, well, log in using your Gmail account. Easy peasy. All right. No telling from Cody. Let's have a quick guess. I want to see some random announcements. Who do you think's the number one? I already announced it ain't Blanco. Minerva, we're not waiting 20 minutes on your pick. All right, lots of different choices being announced here. For those who are in our audience and don't know exactly what's going on, again, it's an amateur draft. There are players that are real-life players. There are players that are from our 1.0 universe, and when I reference 1.0, from 2000 through 2011, I ran eMLB, didn't have anywhere near this level of content, but this is exactly what I always would have loved to have done. We just didn't have the tech back then. But that is when I reference the 1.0 universe, and we will also, if we have that information readily available, we'll also let you know what that player did if they are a 1.0 player, what they did in that past life, so that we can use that as a measuring stick. Now, you can't create a player for this draft, but, caramba, what happened there? You can't create a player for this draft, but you can create a player for the next draft. That won't be until about 6 months from now. We're a slow storytelling type of universe, but it'll give you plenty of time to get used to things if you really start to catch on. And as Sean Paxley just provided, if you do decide of your own to go ahead and support the channel here so you can avoid ads and stuff, Exclamation Fast just showed you how many boosts that you will earn as a fast start. Kind of helps your player out there pretty quick. All right, I'm gonna not keep you waiting anymore. We've got everything we think ready to go. We've got our first selection up and ready. You've made your suggestions on what you think will be the number one. Jalen Stark was nodding his head before he found out Blanco leak was false. Now he's biting his nails. Yeah, let me get that set up as well too. All right, we're ready. Let's get this pomp and circumstance underway as we get ready to introduce to you the number one overall selection of the 2031 eMLB Amateur Draft. This is the first pick by the Sacramento Athletics. From Buchanan Upshur High School, one half of the Elmer twins. It will be utility player, shortstop, center fielder Serena Elmer. Elmer, 6'5", 250 pounds, probably slightly more defensively talented than slightly big brother Elmer, Doran Elmer, that is. Absolute talent is there. No matter what position Serena plays, she will be very good at that position and already considered to have enormous upside potential on both offense. Both of them are driven. The story we are understanding is that they want to be able to face off against each other very regularly. They are very interested in being able to battle each other. Serena Elmer is a community-created player of Flying WV who created John Cowgill, who just became a all-star. I can't confirm. I think the Commit School of Northern Illinois was chosen by the game and not by Flying. It was by the game, yes. Okay. Serena Elmer is your first official selection here. Initial thoughts from the community. Stark is apoplectic, I'm sure. I'm sure he is as well, too. It should be fixed already. I see Serena on the draft list, don't you? Did it update in my in the Discord, though? Yeah, it's been updated on the Discord as well. Yeah, I'm taking care of that. I will do round one, but round two I will let you guys do as we get there. Sir Mixel. Oh, jeez. Here we go. Oh, dear Lord. All right, one pick in, and we are ready for our second selection. This will, no, not Rump Shaker. That's Baby Got Back. We'll now go to the Kansas City Royals. Royals are in third place in this particular season, 12 games back. again, have the talent of John Cowgill, the now All-Star, as well as Edgar Devon Heimdallr. Clyde Torkel also was an All-Star nominee. 3 All-Stars on this squad this year. And not to be outdone, there's some other good names on this squad, including Parker Gooch. Judge Dozier has struggled in his time. And the gamble I thought that was crazy for them to do, and Chris Wilson's turned into 25 saves and a 3.6 ERA thus far. I was like, the smallest market team should not be going after a player like this. However, there's still issues in Kansas City that need to be worked on. This is still a bottom third in the league in most offensive categories. Pitching, though, is definitely a plus at this particular point. So if offense is what you got to work on, then you got to think that offense will be the direction that they're going to consider going here. Don't know if Minerva is ready to go, but we aren't going to wait. We're going to jump right into it. Let us introduce you to the second overall selection here in the 2031 draft. Will the second of the Elmer twins be selected here right away? We'll find out. The Royals will select Tom Corbett. He is a sophomore from the University of Missouri. That was Ethan Knight's old stomping grounds long ago. The Flint, Michigan native, likely one of the best offensive talents in this particular draft. He will hit for average. He does have above average power, but D-Block just nailed it. He will probably be a perfect fit for Kaufman for his ability to put bat on ball and to find gaps as a line drive hitter. He will excel at Kaufman. He was already a 961 OPS at his final year at Missouri. If there is a potential knock on Corbett,
evil does not wear a bonnet.
Huh.
Evil does not wear a bonnet.
Oh no! What is happening? Where's my
Evil
horny toes?
Does not wear a bonnet. Evil does not wear a bonnet.
Apparently, in the draft, you only wear bonnets.
Evil does not wear a bonnet.
I'm like at a loss. What happened to my Streamlabs?
Evil does not wear a bonnet. Evil does not wear a bonnet.
I haven't had this happen in years.
Evil does not wear a bonnet.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Sean Paxley broke stuff.
Evil does not wear a bonnet. Evil does not wear a bonnet.
I have it set up so it's only supposed to do one alert.
Great horny toads!
Sean Paxley, you broke stuff. There's our horny toads. There's your dance. What in the world? Sean Paxley, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. There's somebody with a big stupid grin just hitting the follow. Hello there. Welcome on in. So let's get back to our selection here. This is Tom Corbett, the number 2 overall pick. He's a sentimental favorite for yours truly because in the 1.0 era, 276 hitter, 224 career home runs, 890 RBI over 14 seasons at Fenway Park. He helped me win 3 world championships. Now, actually, in the 1.0 universe, he was a third baseman who converted to the outfield. But in this universe, he's just an exclusive outfielder. And if there is a potential knock on him, excellent arm, but not a very good first step or read on the position. But again, as mentioned, he's a guy who's already in the process of maturing. He's just a sophomore. He's 20 years young. This is a guy who could potentially be a factor in the majors, maybe even as early as 2033. And I would definitely think 2034. Tom Corbin will be your number 2 selection here in the 2031 amateur draft. Tim Lowry had him at number 3 on the Backfields Media big board. 2 down so far. That'll get us over to the next selection. Immediately, people must be thinking, now where's this thing going from here? We'll transition over to the number 3 pick, Atlanta Braves. It has been a dismal year. The Braves have had multiple double-digit loss streaks so far this year. Barely winning 30% of their games thus far. There is still good talent on this team. It is the pitching that has been abysmal. An ERA of 6.25 so far for starters. And can only hope that it will improve in the future. Yeah, it always starts with defense, I agree. But that is the beauty of playing in out of the park, is it gives you a real opportunity to watch being able to develop and improve on it. So don't be sad at all, Moose. It's a great opportunity to learn from it. Also help if guys like the Gorgalicious Booty Whoppers, shout out to Gorgo, would stop being injured. Because Gorgo's hitting .315 with 6 homers, but he's only been able to play a whopping 30 games so far this year. He's had a couple of injuries. He lost 7 weeks. And then he's been injured with a fractured thumb since June 25th. It's July 16th now. And he is expected to be back at about the end of the month, just before the All-Star break. All right, let me get her set up. All right. I think we're ready to announce the Atlanta Braves' first selection. This is the number 3 pick of the 2031 draft. Let's see who they go with. They will go with the guy simply known as Brodylicious. Ted Brody Jr. out of UNLV. Could potentially be the best overall player in this pool, as he could also act as a pitcher if needed. The 6-foot-tall, 170-pound right-hander from UNLV hit .265 with 22 home runs. Probably the best pure power hitter in this draft. Excellent discipline. The only risk with him has been known to be a bit aggressive at times. So he might be a candidate for striking out a bit more with that immense power. That is definitely a risk-reward play. Now, if he can develop the pitching a bit more, look at the talent there. This is an excellent pick. This is a good replacement for having traded away Paul Bailey to the Arizona Diamondbacks. That is Sir Pug's community credit player. The Utah native, very much the potential of being able to be an excellent first baseman, Excellent power potential. He's a clear middle of the lineup guy for the future. But I think if he continues to develop the pitching, you're looking at a guy who, at the worst, is a middle or back end guy in a rotation. I say he's going to be that. And he is not far away from possibly being able to do damage. He already probably could hit about 15 home runs in the majors this season. Ohtani Light. I like that. I like that. 21-year-old Ted Brody. This is going to be a guy we'll know for a while. Excellent pick by Moose Powers. I would think you have to be thrilled with that selection. Koshin Light, more likely, according to Eddie. That's probably fair as well. All right. Ted Brody is in the books. I was wondering where he would going. I honestly did think, like many of you, that Brody was going to be the first overall selection. There was a case made for it earlier, and just FYI, around 220. He says it's a joke, but he was like, I want to change my pick. I was like, ha! No. Detroit Tigers will be our next selection coming up. Let me get Detroit pulled up here. Tigers floundering at the bottom of the AL Central right now. They were not there until Cleveland recently had a combination of Cleveland winning and Detroit losing a bit here. Still good talent on this team. If Punk is here right now, this is a good time for me to remind, hey, you know what would help your team? Submitting your boosts. He's got a gazillion of them. That lack of submitting boosts is the reason why J.R. Frankenstein is probably hitting 6 in this lineup right now. Michael Moore has had an excellent season, though, but does that make him a trade candidate here at the deadline? Another guy who needs to have his boots submitted. Great Scott! The media has tons of ideas on how Boost could help him. Well, the Tigers are a team that's underachieving, but a bit by choice. And I don't say that in a tanking capacity. But, again, there is... Yeah, Goat Yoga doesn't believe in Boost, or at least that's what Minerva tells us. Well, the Tigers could be so much more right now. But is this a Dennis Green moment? We are who they thought they were. Goat yogurt is a banned substance in eMLB, though. All right. Let's introduce the 4th overall selection here. This is Detroit's selection. Detroit will select left-hander Josh Ballard. He is a 20-year-old left-hander from Elmhurst, Illinois. He played as a sophomore at Southeast Missouri State this past year. Ballard, according to the OSA scouting report, was ranked 3rd among starting pitchers. 20-year-old was 9-2 with a 2.24 earned run average for Southeast Missouri State this past year.
I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, and I dance.
Mr. Audit, thank you very much. for the Tier 2 resub, 32 months. A plus on Ballard based on his selection at Comerica Park. I think that sinker-splitter combination will work very well at Comerica. He's got a good move to first. The left-hander will be able to try to keep the running game a bit more honest. And he doesn't let walks affect him. Although the last time I said that, some guy named Giannis Garbo made me regret ever broadcasting a game with all the walks he gave up. Backfields Media had him listed as the number 9 overall selection on the board, but the Tigers will take him with the 4th overall selection. Josh Ballard, now selected by Detroit. Call up a 32 or 33 is the question. I would say more 33. Initially, I would say 33. I could be wrong. And they've got enough young talent on this team that they could take that time. All right, as I position for our next selection and who we'll be going with, let me set that table here first. Let's go check out Milwaukee. Milwaukee will be making the number 5 selection here. Brewers have had an interesting season. I suck at color code, so you can just follow along on the graph here. But you can thank a recent 10-game winning streak for the Brewers to be right in the thick of it. They are absolutely have to be buyers here. Yes, sir, Cardinal. And for those who did not see, once again, it might not be as well in the lighting, but I am wearing purple tonight in honor of my mom, who's fighting her battle at a nearby hospital with pancreatic cancer. To say that she has been feeling miserable all week is an understatement. But she's hoping to be home before the end of the week. Right this moment, probably going to be there right through my out-of-town business conference that I have. So back on the Brewers, a lot of positives. The pitching has been improving here. You see that the top 3 starters, Gabe Hillman, Chad Cuff, and Hans Kraus, doing sub-4 ERAs. Not a lot of wins in that rotation, though.
Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance.
Checking in live from a baseball field while umpiring. Hopefully I don't throw anyone out right.
Just call for catcher interference, Aiden, no matter what the situation is. Just call for catcher interference. And thank you for the resub tier 2. Things that I think are positives on this team. Well, Dalen Lyle, he earned an all-star nomination. Jimmy Fund, our first true community-created player that we ever had in our universe. Bobby Witt Jr. had a revitalization here. Leonardo Kingston looks like a huge promise. Offense is still a bit lacking on this squad, but the running game is definitely not that. Dalen Lyle, 34 stolen bases this year. Could he be a possible Speedy Spikes Award winner? Tap into the spirit of Angel Hernandez and miss every call. Love it. Love it. All right. Jason Hillman, one of our first and one of our general managers who's literally been here all of eMLB's existence. eMLB was formed on July 19th of 2000. That is real life. That is not a in-game sim date. That's a real life date, and Jason Hillman has been a general manager since day one. He ran the, they were Anaheim Angels mostly then, but obviously the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. But he has always been a Brewers fan, and he has been the Brewers GM exclusively in the 2.0 era. All right, let's see where the Brew Crew is heading for the 5th selection. Well, the wonder was when would it happen, and there it is. Doran Elmer. The second half of the Elmer twins has been selected here. Another excellent defensive shortstop prospect in Elmer, who played for Lewis County High School. The Elmer twins played in separate schools so that they could battle and compete against each other. Absolute imposing presence. It's unfair to have a 6'5", 255-pound defensive-minded shortstop. That's like A-Rod on steroids on top of steroids. Like Serena, going to be very versatile, probably comfortable at any defensive position that they're playing. Capable of hitting for either average or power as they will continue to develop. We know that they're fueled by facing off against each other, so one has been drafted by Sacramento and the other now drafted by Milwaukee. How much potential will these two get to face off against each other? We'll hope they'll keep tabs. There might not be a lot of opportunities to face off against each other early on, though. Five picks in the books. Doran Elmer. So now Flying WV knows where both of his players are for this particular draft. Many others will still be waiting. Who's joining the number one OSA farm system, says Ken Butram. So let's talk about that team. We'll go over to the Montreal Expos now. Expos in their fifth season since becoming a part of the eMLB universe again. The Expos were in the 1.0 universe. They were changed to Washington upon the real-life change. And they have returned along with the Portland Stags as our first expansion teams ever in eMLB. There are plans for two new teams to come in 2033. By the way. The end game of eMLB will be to be 36 teams, 6 divisions, 6 teams per. Expos, an eclectic team mixed up. Some veterans like Michael Brooks, Juan Soto. Some hopefuls like Ethan Moyer, who's done pretty well for himself. And some pure talent like Laptop Hounds, Glenn Streamer, as well as their first long-term extension in Ted Boyd. Pitching has been respectable. 5th best starting rotation in the National League right now. It's that bullpen that I feel like it really just needs to have a true closer amongst it. But you lied, Ken. It's the number 2 overall prospecting system. 5 players in the top 100, 4 in the top 25. So with that, Montreal will make their first pick of this 2031 draft. Let us introduce the newest Expo. I laughed and laughed and laughed when this player got created. Roger Lemons. Huh, that sounds like someone, don't it? The soon-to-be 20-year-old from Houston, Texas, playing for the Longhorns. Rugged 6'4", 205-pound right-hander from Texas. Mid-90s fastball, excellent slider. Pretty good splitter that he has added, as well as a cut fastball. Known as a workhorse, a guy who absolutely has been known to glare his coach back into the dugout when he wants to keep on going. Likely a guy who could have a very long career if he continues to develop properly. Dare I say Hall of Fame? I know a lot of people are saying a guy who rhymes with lemons should probably now go into the Hall of Fame. And I still think Pedro Martinez should be in eMLB. Just saying. Pump him full of steroids and see if he can throw 115. Roger Lemons has been selected by the Montreal Expos. Got to think a future ace on that squad. That'll get us to the 7th overall selection. Let me set the table on that one. There may be room for Pedro someday, yep. It will be Stroker Ace and the Arizona Diamondbacks. This is Stroker's first time that he'll be selecting a player in the eMLB universe. Diamondbacks are figuring it out. 30 wins so far this year. Kind of bottom in most categories, but you can only go up from here. There's still positives on this team. Taking a gamble on guys like Mike Soroka was required in order to get some guy named Paul Bailey. Sir Pug's community credit player, by the way. You have young talent like CM Punk. Benjamin Sisko, that's JC Swishman's community credit player. As well as Brock Rutherford and Edward Elric, the Full Metal Alchemist. So again, it's not necessarily about this season. Oh, we can't forget Maddox Balcombe as well. He was a 257 hitter with 18 homers, injured if I remember correctly right now. Oh no, just down in AAA? Is he down in AAA or is he just on the bench? No, he's on the bench. There we go. That's what it is. It's going to be like, why would he be in the minors? No tanking. We're watching. Especially when there are 277 close friends also watching it too. All right, so Diamondbacks will be ready to make their first selection under David Jolly, that Stroker Ace. Let's see what they will come up with. They will select the switch hitter from Hazel Park, Michigan, Chad Olds. 956 OPS, plus power. Definite plus on the gap as well. And very good speed. Chad Olds, I have to think, was a guy that was very high up on this list. Pirate says he was third on his list. Let's see what Backfield's media has to say on that. Now, if there's a risk to him, not a big defender, doesn't have great range. You'd think that he would with his speed. But he's got a heck of an arm. I think he'd actually be a pretty good right fielder if he could continue to work on that. Backfield's media had Chad Olds ranked second on the big board. He falls down to the number 7 spot. Again, he was a sophomore at Southern Illinois this past season. I would say he's a 30 home run, 20 to 25 stolen base kind of guy. If he was playing in a more offensive base park, then I would improve his home run ability. Still, heck of a player. I think you'll not be sad with Chad Olds, who should be an enormous offensive talent. Defense can always be improved upon. 7 picks down. KC picks second. There is the draft board for any who need to follow it. You can see in real time as the selections are made. First round is completely in the can. So we are just showing you our pre-produced, I say pre-produced, I am live, but we're showing you the production that we put into it to be a little unique amongst the online league universe. We'll now go to our other expansion team, the Portland Stags out of Portland, Oregon. We'll take a peek at Portland, 37-52 in the always tough American League West. You not only have Houston, LA, and the Rangers, which we call King Ghidra, but you also have a improving Seattle Mariners squad that will be picking a couple selections from now. Ben Snow just recently signed to an extension, 311 average, not a big power hitter, 9 homers. Dukeston's community credit player Billy Ray Spears, 17 home runs this season. And some KG veterans like Riley Green, Jared Kelnick, and Anthony Volpe. On the pitching side, Nasbase, sub-3 ERA for a guy could knock so far this year. Former Cardinal Jeremy Frank, now 32 years old, 2-3 with an ERA just north of 4. Another CCP and Ryan Shaw with a sub-4 ERA from the bottom of the rotation. Vita Romero, who they are high on for long-term. Romero just short of being a 100 strikeout pitcher this year. With that, we are ready to introduce to you the new selection. I got one more thing to do. All right, with that, let's introduce to you the newest member of the Portland Stags. From Rappahannock High School. That is in Warsaw, Virginia, by the way. It is Leon Carter, community credit player of Tim Lowry. It's a thin market on catchers, at least on paper it looks it. This is the top of that heap. He can hit for average, he can hit for power. He's a respectable, he's an above average catcher. He won't be top tier, but that is something that can absolutely be improved upon. Gorgo cashing in the boost. So one thing we can say about Carter, he won't blaze a lot of trails on the base paths. But hopefully that'll be because he's hitting a lot of home runs. I would say that if he was a lefty, he'd be more likely to hit 30 home runs. But I'll at least give him 25 to 30 potential at the Portland Diamond Ballpark. Leon Carter, community credit player Tim Lowry, has been selected here, 8th overall selection. That now has 4 CCPs. Mr. Audit was, I didn't mention that earlier, Mr. Audit, Roger Lemons, over to Montreal. Our last single-digit selection of this draft, and the 9th overall pick coming up. Cincinnati Reds will be making that selection. Quick peek at the Reds, 42 wins this year in a very tight National League Central. Just 7.5 back here despite being in the last spot. Can still rely on Trey Griffey. Trey has a new Bash brother in Johnny Ossington now. 27 home runs. Pitching, of course, is an uphill battle at the Great American Ballpark. Jimmy Potts, of course, continues to lead the way. Juan Vargas having a nice season as well. Ernesto Mendoza has been reliable through 88 innings thus far. Time to introduce the Reds selection here in the 2031 eMLB Amateur Draft. Let's check it out. They will select the birthday boy. Happy 22nd birthday to JJ Langelier from San Antonio, Texas. He's a junior at St. Gregory's in Shawnee, Oklahoma this past year. .312 average, 16 homers, and 70 runs driven in. Solid hand-eye coordination from Langelier. I would generally say 15 to 20 home run potential, but I will add about 5 homers for playing at the Great American Ballpark. And he's enough of a contact hitter that I would probably suggest that he be about a .280 hitter in his time. Enough defensive versatility that he will be a good corner outfielder or at least an average first baseman if you need him in that capacity. So that versatility is never a negative. Where I would say his the scouting report is that his arm isn't exactly the strongest. I would really say he is ideal for the position that he has been scouted at, left field. He fell to 26, so you could say that he is being picked earlier here if you go by Backfield's medium. Again, not a bad pick at all. Not ready yet, but might be a solid upgrade from Matt Watson, currently the left fielder for the Reds. Birthday boy, J.J. Langelier, turned 22 years old. You have been selected 9th overall by the Cincinnati Reds. Very cool, very cool. All right, that gets us 9 picks in. We will now go to the 10th selection. That'll be the Seattle Mariners. Don't know if Ryan Hetzer is here right offhand or not. Again, the Mariners are having a nice season so far this year. 49-40. Hello, Hets. 4th in the division, which isn't terrible. They are in the wild card race, so definitely don't count out the Mariners here. Improvements in various spots. Stephen Kwan hitting .323 in his first real opportunity to play as a major leaguer in eMLB. Eric Kelly started off ice cold, but the first ever 400 home run community credit player. Now 34 years old with 14 home runs, 48 runs driven in, and the average slightly creeping up each time. Jeff Wallach playing better, sandwiched in between him and Aaron Judge. Judge hitting under 200, but still making history with 18 home runs. So offense has always been a bit of a focus in Seattle. Pitching's done well too. Cecil Cantrell, 3-3 with a mid-2 ERA. Grumpy old, as in grumpy old Brian, who I can't tell you the last time we saw him. He tells me as soon as he sees an ad, he's gone. What's a guy got to do to be able to make a living here? Phil Oak, the only all-star representative, probably unfairly for Seattle. But Oak, 22 saves in a follow-up season after being the closer last year. The big one I hope to see back again soon and still pitching well is Champ Bell. Yes, he is grumpy. He lives up to the name. All right, 10th overall pick. Not sure how many surprises you think we've seen in our first 9. More bullpen help coming via the trade market. Yes, it is that time, and I think we got some extra buyers this year. Could say everybody in the NL Central could technically have an excuse to be a buyer right now. Let's introduce the 10th overall selection here in the 2031 eMLB Amateur Draft. Seattle will select Raheem Jennifer. He's a junior over at Pacific. He's a 22-year-old junior to be exact. Now, I think a few people are going to say this is a possible reach at this spot, but hear me out. Natural-born leader is the story from Jennifer. The 22-year-old led the Pacific Tigers to a memorable season in the WCC this year. Now, the risk might be if you grade him as a center fielder, that might be where I would agree with you. He will be a good center fielder if necessary, but he will be an elite corner outfielder if you decide to put him there instead. Excellent power and discipline for the 6'4" right-hander. Fair to say he has 5'2" talent potential. He's not necessarily weak at anything. He has a little bit to offer in a variety of spots. Backfield's media announcing he was 17th on the big board. He will go 10th here overall. Raheem Jennifer from Los Angeles, California, being selected here by the Seattle Mariners. He will stay on the West Coast. All right. You know what I might do? If you are here as a general manager, if you want to announce after I show the pick, if you want to put it in Stats Plus, that'll be a help. Hold on a moment. Hey, Vic, I got a question. I see that you cashed in a redemption for Boost, but you don't have a player, do you? Am I missing something? Now, kayaking, Kaya, I got your Boost redemption, so congrats on your +3. Yes, Kaya King. But Vic Legina also cashed in a Boost. And I was like, wait a minute. You don't have a player, do you? Okay. So we'll now go to the 11th pick. That is the Colorado Rockies. Torquay Bacon is in the chat. Maybe he is a community credit player umpire. Yes, you did. We got your Mega Boost as well, Gorgo. Okay, so for general managers who are here, once your pick is officially announced, I will have you go ahead, put it in Stats Plus so that it will save a little time and you don't have to watch me constantly doing this. Yes, I think Vic should make a player. I've been suggesting it for a while, but he hasn't taken me up on it. Just quoted lyrics so far. Wait, that's not. Wait. Ah! And boom goes the dynamite. All right. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Colorado coming up. 35 wins this season for a team still trying to figure out their identity. Playing in an offensive park. Not very offensive. 12th in average, 15th in runs scored. Players like CJ Arsenault, though, are being at least respectable for their role. I still love Michael Scott being on this team.
That's what she said.
281 average, 8 home runs for that community created player. Gilligan! I can't do a really good skipper personality. Yeah, well, no, you're offensive with your lack of offense. That's what it is. But there is hope still here, fam. This is a team that still has some talent coming. The tactician, A.J. Jeanette, that's a dude who should be in AAA at the least. I've seen what he's done at AA. Call him up. Or do you just like him being a yard goat? You also have Josh Salfie, Chris Morris, Steve Thorson. There are a lot of top 100 talent for pitching. You love them local, huh? So, offense could be a big-time thing that the Rockies would like to focus on. Now the question will be, what do they select? How about we introduce it to you, Twerky? As soon as the announcements come, go ahead, put it in on Stats Plus, please, and thank you. I think this is a good one. Chris Blanco, rated by OSA as the top pitching talent in this draft, at least from a starting perspective. No, you didn't draft him. Stats Plus thinks you should have, though. Blanco, the 18-year-old from Upland, California, planning to go to East Tennessee State. The 18-year-old won all 10 decisions. He struck out over 13 batters per 9 innings that he was in. Absolute arsenal of pitches suggests that he has 6 different pitches that he can throw. It's the sinker and the changeup that have been graded his best pitches thus far. Now, one thing to note, he had a bit of back trauma in his sophomore year. He seems to have recovered from it, but it is a potential concern for him. but he profiles as a high-end potential starter, perhaps a little bit more on the finesse side than the power. But control will probably be a big plus in the arsenal of Blanco. Chris Blanco officially selected 11th overall here in the 2031 draft. All right, so just curious, for those who are not regulars and don't mind providing a little bit of feedback, what do you think here of the 2031 amateur draft at our presentation, so to speak? For some of you, it's a little, you're used to it by now. We are going to switch it up next year with Rocky Draw's final schedule. It just was not convenient to do it. I've already suggested to Rocky, how about we mix it up again for next season and use a little bit of that animated talent that you now have. She will get to work, right to work on it. All right, we are now heading over to the Washington Nationals NC Pirate, who is our longest member of the Fluffy Kitty Ninja community in regards to subs to the channel, I should say. We'll take a peek at the Nationals. Nationals were a world champion back in 2025. Some good community-credit player talent still on this team. Veteran Jose Anthony, Justin Case, Mark Diggs, those are all Pirate CCPs. Joe Diggs has fallen off a bit, but still remains a respectable mid-rotation guy. Chris Sabo continues to hit over 300. Phil Milwee, since his rookie season when he won the National League batting title, has continued to come back down to earth, but still gets used. And personal favorite, Papa Vaz, because he is just one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. And if you love chill MLB The Show talent, if you watch him on Twitch, then let me send you over to Papa Vaz as a shout out. Talent-wise, there could be some improvement here. Just 2 pitchers in the top 100. A few other players in the top 200, so definitely need to restock the shelves here a little bit in Washington. We have the selection. Pirate, if you are ready, once I announce the pick, why don't you go ahead and input it into Stats Plus if you are still here, please, and thank you. Let's introduce the 12th overall selection in the 2031 eMLB Amateur Draft. Our first international player off the board, Andrej Sulk from Czechoslovakia. He was a senior at Nevada. Pirate giving you his 2 cents right away. Let's show you the skinny on the Ostrava, Czechoslovakia native, Czech Republic. It's not Czechoslovakia anymore. Come on, Kamish. You're not living in the 80s. From the Czech Republic, Andrej Sulk. Low mid-90s with that fastball, pinpoint control. If there's a possible concern is that not the movement's at least average. He might not be your biggest strikeout guy. My initial suggestion or thought, where do I see Andrej Sulk down the road? Right where Joe Diggs is right now as the number 3 on this squad in the future. Now that could continue to change. This is not a down thing. Yes, he could be a good on keeping the home runs down, but I do like how Pirate put it. He will have elite command. He is smart, already matured, and likely won't take him long to be a possible member of the Nationals down the road. From Czech Republic, Andrei Salk, selected here by the Washington Nationals with the 12th selection. Very good. Salk is in. That means we will go over to the Yankees. Time to see what Brendan McGuirk has in store for the Yanks, his first selection as the Yankee general manager. He, of course, was our Baltimore Oriole general manager for a bit, took a little bit of a hiatus, returned, and we think he's our best fit as a Yankee general manager in eMLB. We'll take a peek at the Yanks. Yanks made some big free agency moves this offseason. They brought in their top two starters, Joel Machado and Jorge Barbosa. That's combined for 11 wins thus far, and an ERA that's probably low 4 overall. Rafi Devers continues to be impressive as a Yankee, despite now being 34 years old. 301 average, 21 homers, 58 runs driven in. Slugging percentage continues to stay top end. Jose Ramirez has been improving throughout the year, the now 38-year-old. But again, a team that at best is average. If there's a weakness, it's likely in the bullpen. And the back end of the rotation is fair too. They're 13th in starting ERA thus far. Yankees front office is celebrating hard in the war room. Well, that tells you they know who they got. Let's not keep you waiting any further. Let's introduce to you who the 13th pick of the 2031 eMLB Amateur Draft is. And Cody says if it's Kenji Kobayashi, they're fighting. Let's find out. It is the younger brother of world champion Shane Rodecker. Sean Rodecker, 19-year-old sophomore from Oregon, the North Dakota native. 12 homers, 60 runs driven in with a 278 average this past season. Had an 835 OPS for the Oregon Ducks. Should be an above-average defender as he continues to develop. We understand he is fairly consistent attitude-wise, like his brother Shane. So we will assume the ceiling can continue to be off the charts. He may still be a little bit down the road away from being ready. But Sean Rodecker, who is the community credit player of Noble Eagle, big brother Shane amongst the Cardinals, and little brother Sean Rodecker now joining the New York Yankees. Rodecker is dominating in each league. We'll see about that. Now, does that move Jackson Hedges over to second permanently? Because he's playing short right now. But again, that's down the road. Yes, he's got. He could boost to the cap already this season. Yes, he could. All right. Give me a moment. I got to do... Minnesota Twins will be coming up next. Rather keep Hedges at second, but he played short when Kaler was hurt. Yes. All right, let's look at the Minnesota Twins now. Twins are second in the American League Central, 4 games over 500 here. Aiden Pearson running the squad. Xavier Odom, the all-star serial killers community credit player. Hey, Scott. 329 average this year for him. They went big and signed Kent Herbeck Jr., Twins 34's community credit player, who was also competing. They were competing against Boston and the Yankees to try to land his services. 301 hitter with 15 home runs in his first year as the second coming of the Herbeck generation in Minnesota. In the farm, bottom third on the league is the current ranking on it. 3 players in the top 100. Closest player would be Nestor Cortez in Double-A currently. So, we'll introduce Minnesota's next selection. We understand they got a little extra pomp and circumstance that they apparently want to do for this.
The what? The what? And the what? You know, the bleeps. The sweeps. And the creeps.
That's not all he's lost.
Sir, the radar, sir. It appears to be jammed.
Jammed. Raspberry. There's only one man who would dare give me the raspberry. Lone Star!
Any guesses who's been selected? Community credit player Lone Star, the Eagle 5 captain. The 20-year-old right-hander from Arizona State. Lone Star went 9-4 with a 3.27 earned run average this past year for the Sun Devils. Scouts believe that splitter that he has could turn into his best out pitch, and he has upside on keeping those walks down. A lot of belief he will be able to turn into a pretty solid K pitcher along the road. And as many of you love to say, dat bunt dough. Yes, keep the raspberry off the ball. Knowing that Aiden is umpiring a game right now while probably looking at his phone, I will make the selection for him. The recently turned 20-year-old right-hander Lone Star, the community-created player of Lone Star, has been selected here with the 14th pick. I had to have a little fun with that one, so I had that one set up all day. Hopefully it was taken over and received well. All right, next selection will go to the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles, another struggling year, but you see some positives as you look at it. Definite no issue with power. The left-handers are doing well there. Mike Briggs, Alfredo Espinoza. The suspense, Nick Spence, continues to hit decently. Buster Bluth just became an all-star again for the now 5th time. On the pitching side, Dan Walker not getting any help at all, but has just under a 4 ERA. Farm, kind of in the middle of the road. 3 top 100 selections, including Chris Blakowski, the shortstop. Not sure if Blakowski could force Nick Spence to be traded, but where he's hitting 304 of late, you got to think there's a lot of potential for him to get a call up here in the not too distant future. All right, I have the pick in. Let's introduce to you the newest selection from the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore will select New York native right-hander Sean Lindrith. Lindrith is a 21-year-old right-hander playing at Fordham University. He's won 21 games in his last 2 seasons with an ERA under 2.9 in both of those years. Mid-90s sinker and a cut fastball. Throws a splitter, a changeup, and a curveball that a lot of scouts trend as an above-average pitch, probably his best pitch that he will have. Known to go deep in games, keeps the ball down with good control. I think for Camden Yards as a right-hander, this will be a very good pick. Could have some risk against lefties, but Sean Lindrith, excellent pick here by the Baltimore Orioles as they select 15th overall. Lindrith is in the books. That'll move us over to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Oops. Dodgers, of course, right in the thick of it in a highly contested National League West. It's not just what San Diego and San Fran do. The Dodgers are trying to be in that conversation regularly. 6 games over 500 here. Second in the league in homers, but still just 8th in runs scored. 7 players in the starting lineup have 12 or more home runs this year for the Dodgers. They acquired Edgar Barrios this offseason. He has not disappointed. Jim Giesler, the all-star, 12-1 record, mid-2 ERA. Once upon a time, Jim Giesler, along with Fritz freaking Flaherty, were traded for one Tyler Glasnow. I would say that is the worst trade that Aaron Silence ever did. Don't know if Chris Holland's here, so I'm going to set up the selection. I now have it. And with that, we are getting to the halfway point of round 1. There are 32 picks in round 1, 4 supplemental picks that we're doing in this format. With that, let me introduce you to the 16th overall selection here, done by LA. This pick is to be determined. No, seriously, it's to be determined. That is Schnee's community-created player. A closer, or a potential closer. 20-year-old from University of Rhode Island, Elwood, New York native. Mid-upper 90s fastball, excellent cut fastball, average splitter, but those other two pitches definitely are massive out pitches trending in the major leagues. Enormous strikeout potential, looks like the closer of the future for the Dodgers. Again, this is Schnee's community credit player, so you know right away, even though the list doesn't show it, I still owe Schnee and Flying some refunds from when we watered down their players back to reality a little bit. And I will be reimbursing that upon completion of the live portion of the draft today and tomorrow. Reminder, rounds 1 and 2 will be today. Round 3 through 5 will be tomorrow. 8th overall on the big board will be selected 16th here by the Dodgers. Okay. That'll send us to the second half of round 1, and that means we will start with the Boston Red Sox. Oops. There we go. Red Sox in second place, but under 500 in the American League East right now. Having an amazing season from Pepe Clark. Clark's career high in home runs is 28. He's already at 24 this year. Maybe further supported by the 21 homers from Angel Flores, the second baseman. But definitely some level of disappointment from this team. The pitching has continued to struggle. I wouldn't fully blame it on the youngsters of Tommy Springer and Paul Skeens. Mike Bohr has just never panned out. Hold on, technical difficulty here on one screen. They are in the top 10 in farm systems right now. Skeens, of course, for the moment, still considered the top prospect in the majors, and that's because John Cowgill and Benjamin Abenduct have fallen off the list. Hey, TJ. So the Red Sox ready to make their selection. This is the second half of round number 1. We're ready to introduce the newest member of the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox will select community-created player Wild Bill Hickok. That's Mr. Bill's community-created player. Oh, no!
Evil does not wear a bonnet!
Tim, thank you very much for gifting over a sub to That Sports Gamer. To TJ. Why doesn't TJ have a player in this universe? Why doesn't he have an eMLB guy? Hickok was a junior at Mississippi State this past year. Excellent line drive hitter. Would identify him as a just outside of the elite defenders likely in his future. He'll likely be an above average talent in regards to his hitting for league average. And I'd say he'll be able to do double digits in steals. There's always the potential for all of that to improve. Hit 289 with 9 homers and 54 runs driven in for Mississippi State this past year. Bill Hickok from Ottawa, Illinois. has been selected by the Red Sox with the 17th pick of the draft. All right, that is in. We'll move on as we try to keep it rolling here. We hope you are enjoying our special coverage here of the 2031 eMLB Amateur Draft, as we always pre-produce round one in this special occasion. And we will hope to give you a fun round two. Round two, when we get there, is going to be on the fly. The general managers will be picking live. That will be very interesting in itself. All right, we will get to our next selection. It's the first selection for the Cleveland Guardians. I think when you think of Cleveland right now, the first thing that comes to mind is what the heck happened? Because they were probably expected to be the top team of the American League Central, and they only just recently got out of the basement. 17 games under 500 for a team that still houses talent such as Slambino, Dexter Morgan, David Elvis, Ryan Tecker, Bob Royal, Ebby Lelouch. There's a lot of good talent on this team, and it's just not turning out. Suigi's player also Enya Kimura, 231 hitter as a shortstop so far this year. Can't forget Jeff Coleman. Sorry, shout out to JC Swishman, but he has a fractured hand. He's going to be out for another 4 weeks. That's losing a 295 hitter with 9 homers this year and 29 stolen bases. Down on the farm, just outside of the top 10, Loki Swayman. Never heard of this person who created that one. Just married to her. Jeff Castles might be one of the first faces that we get to see this season. Maybe USN's community credit player Rhett Vandergraaf will get an opportunity in the not too distant future. All right, we will get you ready to see the newest member of the Guardians. Let's get her done. They will select community created player from Sean Paxler, our San Francisco general manager. Luis Sockalexis, the second Arizona State Sun Devil selected in this one. Lone Star was the first. The 21-year-old left-hander saved 17 games for the Sun Devils this past year. Pretty good off-season pitch potential. Throws a fastball in the low to mid-90s. And again, with a wonderful human being like Sean Paxler behind it, that will likely get improved as we go. Could be the next lefty closer since Chris Wilson left the Guardians. And Sean Paxler adds supposedly the first Native American to play in the majors. Nope, Sandier 420 drafted him. Luis Sockalexis has been selected by the Guardians. Pick number 19. That will send us over to maybe the best story to tell so far this year in the New York Mets. Mets having a wonderful year. How wonderful? Well, they're the best team in the entire league so far this season. 62 wins against 27 losses so far this year. Top 5 on the offensive side, and it has been the pitching, top to bottom. From the starting rotation right to the closer, Carlos Santiago with 30 saves this year. Trish Jackson, a one-time guy who was thinking of joining the PGA. The Eternal Splinter sticks around, hitting .344 this year with 12 homers. I think he'll make a lot more money in eMLB than he would in the PGA. EPGA, perhaps? Now, there are still some things to pay attention to on this squad. Can Dwayne Johnson ever return to his glory? The former Rookie of the Year. Can Jin-Woo Kim be more dominant offensively as much as he is pitching-wise? 14-game winner with a 2.3 ERA. Benny the Jet Rodriguez, is he heading to free agency? Or can he stick around? Down on the farm, it's bottom third in the league. Just one talent in Chris Pancake, who's a 22-year-old down in A-ball. Kurzov's community credit player is in AAA, but he is outside of the top 200 in prospects. All right. Mets running on all cylinders so far this year. Can they keep it going? Don't expect the player to be selected here to have any impact on this season. I know Denver's here, so Denver, once we announce your player, if you could update Stats Plus for me, please, and thank you. Let's introduce the New York Mets' first selection of the 2031 draft. They will go with the high school senior from Scotts Valley High School in California, Joey John. John, 2 weeks prior, had announced his commitment to Vanderbilt if he goes unsigned. Has a 3-pitch arsenal with excellent ground ball metrics in his high school days. Very solid spin rate on the sinker. Drops down, should be very good for Citi Field. Will keep the home run totals down. This is the kind of guy that you say he is a one more good pitch away from being considered an ace of the future. Hey, we got Fluffy, the 3-headed dog from Harry Potter. Yay, us. Joey John, ground ball specialist from San Jose, California, has been drafted by the New York Mets. Not sure if Denbrew is updating. Yes, he did. Thank you. I haven't seen Kenny Lindbergh here yet. Pittsburgh Pirates are coming up next.
Hello there.
A Sporting Moose hits the follow. Thank you very much for doing that. Welcome on into the Fluffy Kid and Ninjas show and expanding the litter box. Pittsburgh Pirates currently tied with the world champion St. Louis Cardinals in the NL Central. 10 games over 500 under new management and Kenny Lindbergh. Again, as Cody Koshin wanted the challenge of Sacramento. Central is the toughest division to be in the lead on right now. You got the world champions right tied with you. You got the Brewers who've won 10 in a row recently to be breathing down your neck. You got the Cubs that can always turn it on in a dime, and you've got the Reds that might be finally turning the corner. Koshin continues to be Ohtani-esque. 301 average, 19 homers halfway through the year, and 10 wins with a 3.5 ERA. Jim Taylor looks like the promise of a good future. They haven't had a solid third baseman since Edgar Barrios. Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he can stay healthy, 274 average and 20 home runs. But again, he has lost a lot of time the last couple of seasons. Again, talents like Jerome Bettis, the alien Josh Exley, and the Dill Bomber Charlie Dillard, who might be having his best season. Down on the farm, towards the middle. Yeah, Blake Snell, though, at 38 years old, is doing amazing. Michael King, one of their top talents down the road. Real-life player, of course, along with Michael Harris II. Patrick Hart, the Australian. And you see that they have several players down to the top 150. With that, we are now at pick number 20 of the 2031 eMLB Amateur Draft, and I would love to introduce the Pirates' first selection of this draft. There you go, Baffle. The Baffler, Doug Schmidt, 20-year-old from the hometown of anyone but Medrano. Tony Medrano from Bellflower, California, as is Doug Schmidt, a sophomore from Long Beach State. The 20-year-old had 15 homers and an .851 OPS for Long Beach this past year. Now, in a park as tough as PNC Park, where it's more pitching oriented, I would still say Schmidt is a 20 to 25 home run type of guy at PNC. Good arm. Little stiff defensively at the hot corner on the initial reaction, but the arm definitely is good. A high motor talent. A lot of people think he's extremely coachable and very knowledgeable. But he would absolutely already grade out as above average power potential. Definitely have to think a future middle of the order guy here for the Pirates. Baffle is shooting his shots at the other 19. He's very Tom Brady-esque about it. Love it. Doug Schmidt, Baffle 99's community granted player. Congratulations. You have been selected in the first round by the Pittsburgh Pirates. We hope you are looking forward to your future in the eMLB universe. Yeah, you can't shoot at Anjou. Anjou's at the very bottom of the heap since he won the World Championship last year. All right, that will get us over to the playoffs. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? Kidding me? Playoffs? We're just hoping we can get round one done. Toronto Blue Jays. Didn't think they'd be picking this early, huh? Well, they are. 55 wins for the Jays this season, running the roost of the American League East rather well. Kind of easy when you get talents like Brown, Murray, Cage, all all-stars. And then you had talents like Bracamontes. And then, of course, you have to throw in having guys like Harry Wood. Now, this is a team that's doing this without the services of William Harris Money. Money out for 11 months, 7-game winner, torn labrum. Ben Dudley, Tanner Houck, Hawkeye, Clint Barton, heck, even Juan Coelho still doing it for the Jays all this time. On the farm, could use a little bit of dusting up. Just one top 25 talent, community credit player Clark Reedy, excuse me. So Jays picking probably a little earlier than most people would like. I don't believe I've seen Harris has been here. So Harris, when the announcement is done, if you want to submit your player in Stats Plus, that would save me an extra step. Let's introduce the new selection of the Toronto Blue Jays. The Jays will go after their own community-created player. A story was once written of the retirement of Chubby Franchise and Logan Nutzman, that they went off in the sunset and they formed Chubby Nutzman. Each of these guys, Chubby Franchise and Logan Nutzman, or Nutsy Poo as you know him, were actual streamers. One's a Twitch partner. But the 5'7", 245-pound Nutsman from Little Rock, Arkansas, 439 hitter, not known, well, he didn't hit for a lot of power. He had 3 homers. He's patient at the plate, or at least can put bat on ball. Again, he's a CCP, so you know that these guys could absolutely improve. Yeah, 34 is too fast for him. But Chubby Nutzman has been created. I just want to say on record, if Nutsy Poo ever sneaks into the chat and wonders about Chubby Nutzman, is that a shot at him? It is not. Harris again taking the player known as Chubby Franchise and the player known as Logan Nutzman. They both retired. They combined to form Chubby Nutzman. It is not body shaming, any of that. And Nutsy looks wonderful. He has been working hard to be healthy for his family. All right, 21 picks are in the books. We'll now get to Steve Kim and the San Diego Padres. Padres won the World Series a couple of years ago, could not answer the bell to defend their crown. A team always filled with talent. Una Kim, Jack Lawless, that's Midnight Dreary's community credit player. Mason Auer, real life player, 28 homers, 63 runs driven in. Asher Kim as well. Consider that a down year for him. Heck, even Ace Defoe is doing pretty good in his role. But it is pitching that is the dominant part of San Diego. They are top in rotation, 3.1 starter ERA so far this year. You can thank guys like Mike Arnett with a 1.64 ERA to this point. On the farm real quick, bottom of the heap, just one top 100 talent, and it's a reliever. Well, he's starting right now. Yeah, it is Kim possible to hate on this team. That's pretty funny. All right, let's get to the selection by the Padres, 22nd pick of the 2031 eMLB Amateur Draft. It is Uber Reese's community creative player, his second player, Hingle McCringleberry. Man, I'm going to hate saying that name all the time. I can see some slips of my tongue. The 18-year-old from State College, Pennsylvania. Raw power potential out of McCringleberry. Now, he played in a field without fences. So he smashed 6 homers along with 3 triples here this past year in high school. He's planning to stay local and go to Penn State if he stays unsigned. I think there's a very good potential he will go out west. It's much easier for me to say Gorgalicious Booty Whomper than Hingle McCringleberry. It's still not the best name for me to say in this league. Cooley Kikaldi would still be my overall favorite. I thought I turned the auto pick off. Gosh darn it. I thought I turned those off. Glitches. Something else rhymes with it too. All right. We'll go over to Houston now. You're not connected? It says you are. Again, your Gmail account is connected. Reset your password. It's whatever, you made it. Good pick, says Uber. Uber's second CCP knows where he's gone. Now we'll go over to the Houston Astros. Astros, 58 wins, second best team in the American League right now, second best team overall. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Well, there's your problem. You used your Gmail account with your name in it, Stroker. And now you're using a different one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link that. I know that's you. I've just linked that, but that was not the account you signed up for Stats Plus on. So now you have 2 different Gmail accounts that are connected, but you are connected now. That's on you, buddy. You're using a different email. That's why you weren't connected. I even said earlier. All right, so Houston, 58 wins so far this year. That's a game ahead of Houston so far, LA so far, excuse me. Now, they have dealt with the injury bug. Sammy Isla down again. Yordano Alvarez is limping a bit, but still hitting 23 homers. Martin Bradford, just another season, 9-3, mid-3 ERA. Derek Waters. Can someone tell Figosaurus Rex, who can't decide if he wants to stay in our Discord or not, that he's 8-0 this year with a 4.32 ERA? 5 players with double digits home runs so far this season. Just third base is the only position to not have somebody in that 10 home run number. Down on the farm, 3 players in the top 100. One, Jeremy Boson, already getting ready to show us what he is going to do, as he just got called up after going 8-2 for Round Rock with a 3.15 ERA. All right, let's get the 23rd selection of the 2031 draft out of the way. Well, at least the auto pick picked right this time. It's 1 out of 2. WTF, Cody. Steve Meadows, according to OSA, was ranked as the second best talent available. The 19-year-old from Little Silver, New Jersey, finished his sophomore season at NC State 9-2 with a 2.35 earned run average. He fell all the way to 23rd here. Many predicted him to be around or just inside of the top 10. Known for excellent control, a top-end curveball that will complement his low 90s fastball. He's got excellent movement on the ball with good spin rate that'll keep the ball down and in the park. I'd say a pick like this falling to Houston, wow. Steve Meadows is definitely the type of guy that I would say could be where Derek Waters is in the number 2 spot of the rotation down the road. Just needs a little bit of seasoning. So Steve Meadows, the proper pick by the auto draft. Backfields Media had him lower, 28th. Interesting. Okay. Going deeper into the teams that were in the playoffs last year, the team voted most likely to finish 99-63 is the Philadelphia Phillies, who will now be up. OSA had him at 13 to New York Yankees. Okay. Phillies are 57 wins so far this year. They are 5 games back on those surprising New York Mets. They are the best offensive team, period. They're not bad on the pitching front either. 3rd best team in the league. Reigning Cy Young winner Corbin Coe, 8-2 this year, 2.77 earned run average. Wade Beers doing well, playing with Rob Deere Jr. In eMLB, they're brothers from different mothers, but in real life, they are brothers, as you know. They brought over other talent like J. Rod Carew, signed him to an extension. Forrest Heiter playing very well from the bottom of the order as well. And Kaba Com being released from the Toronto system, 4-4 with a 3.75 ERA as a starter. '24th pick coming up here. Hebrew, when the pick is announced, if you will put it on Stats Plus, please, and thank you. Let's introduce it. It'll be Kevin Talamantes from Allen Park, Michigan. OSA had him ranked as the 7th best overall player in this draft. In athletics, 6'1" junior from Indiana State. Speed, power, good defender, may even be a elite Gold Glove defender if he ends up being a corner outfielder. He is just top to bottom an amazing talent. if there is the question mark on him, it will be, is he a 250 hitter? Is he a league average type of hitter? He'll definitely hit a lot of home runs at Citizens Bank Park. This is a guy who has a little of everything, and I am absolutely shocked that he is still here. The junior from Indiana State, Larry Bird territory, will be drafted 24th overall by the Philadelphia Phillies. "24 picks in. Let's get over to the 25th. If he hits 250, Tim Lowry says Telemontis is an all-star. All right, it is D-Block's selection for Tampa. Now, Tampa had an excellent season last year. I've got to think D-Block very disappointed with how his team has done this year, but, you know, they played pretty good here of recent. Got to think picking up Rule 5 guys like Tony Gonsolin and then re-rating them. Minerva, you missed one there. Tommy Edmonds played pretty good. Tim Giles is a great offensive hitter, but he is our new anybody but Giles to replace Tony Madrano, who's also on Tampa, by the way. Jose Leclerc has been a nice little acquisition. 20 saves and a 0.74 ERA. That's just at 37 years old. Tampa hoping to have gotten Doug Schmidt, but nope. Missed him by about 5 picks. Yes, Madrano coming in to replace Tim Giles after 3 errors in an inning and 2/3 was absolutely... It was story. 3 players in the top 50. Well, top 30 technically in Tampa. They are 3rd best minor league system at this particular moment, but it is front heavy. Eric Newman at 22 years old, doing pretty good. Likely we'll see a call-up in the not-too-distant future. But none of those players are ready just yet to make an influence at the major league level. '25th pick ready to go of the first round. 32 picks overall there. 4 supplemental picks as well. So again, there are 36 picks you'll be watching in round 1 that are pre-produced as you're seeing here. Once we get to round 2, we'll be a lot quicker. Let's introduce the newest, Tampa Ray. I wonder if Tampa Tarpons and DeMarco Flexington are hoping it's him. Let's find out. Tampa will select center fielder Eric Tubbs from Toledo, Ohio. He is a senior, high school senior at Buckeye Valley High School in nearby Delaware, Ohio. Tubbs is another player that was expected to be picked within the top 15. I think this is another steal at 25. 54 steals for the Buckeye Valley High School squad, and I would give him 35 to 40 steals in the majors. While he was a center fielder in high school, he just doesn't seem to project the the talent or the defensive instincts to be a center field talent in the majors. And as Anju said, not exactly a strong arm, but immense speed, a patient eye, excellent line drive talent. He will hit this ball all over Tropicana. and he will do it with a high average and use the legs to make it bigger. A phenomenal eye. Probably will hit for as many doubles and triples combined as he will have steals on the year. That'll be the fun stat that I'm most curious on. Eric Tubbs has been selected here by Tampa D-Block. If you haven't yet, could you put that in on Stats Plus for me? Nickname has to be Al Dente. All right. We appreciate everybody who has been sticking around to enjoy our first round coverage here. Again, one more round will be done after this. That will be live. The managers will have up to 5 minutes to make their selection. Hey, Billy. Were you here to see your selection, Bill? Actually, yeah, I let you know what that was. Chicago Cubs, 26th selection coming up. We'll take our peek at Chicago. Got to think by measures of what we've seen from. What we've seen from the Cubs in past seasons. A one-time National League pennant winning champ. 45 wins this year, one game under 500. Still getting respectable talent from the former Cy Young knuckleballer Steven Randolph. But Hervé Briand, in his sophomore year, coming over from France. 10-game winner, 3.3 earned run average. You can't be sad with that. Danny Smith Jr. has been off for a bit. Only 47 games in, but a 360 average and 8 homers. Now that he's back, we'll see if that will help Chicago threaten in the very tight National League Central. Marc-Andre Fleury, Anthony Godwin, Jackie Roberts even having a substandard year by his standards. Farm system, middle of the pack. Highly touted second baseman, the Lauk Dragon, Joe Lauk, hitting .321, could be called up at any point here. By the way, Kenny Rodriguez, who signed that 6-year deal, scuffling a .333 slugging percentage. Yikes. What was Rodriguez at? I'm reminding myself. 7 years, sorry, I said 6, but 7. He can opt out after 5. $182 million for K-Rod, and he's got a .217 average with 6 homers and 30 RBI. Yikes. All right. We're ready to introduce the 26th selection, first selection from the Chicago Cubs coming up. Hold on a moment. D-Block did not put his player in, so let me do that real quick. 18-year-old Kenji Kobayashi from Nagoya High School. Poor Cody. Womp womp. The smaller size player of the draft, 5'9", a thin 140 pounds. Speed, defense, focus from Kobayashi. Pure defensive talent, excellent speed. Right now, he'll grade his average offensively, but a true passion for this game. Scouts, knowing his background, say he plays the sport like a true ninja. We'll see how many balls he will catch and rob people of base hits and home runs in his career. Hit .429 in his high school season. He was planning to go to JUCO college if he's going to season himself out further. Kenji Kobayashi. That is Cody's community credit player. Cody now with 7 players in the eMLB universe. And he don't have one on his team at this time. Diz is risking the Kobayashi Maru scenario. There'll be some people that'll be like, what? Meanwhile, all the Star Trek fleet commanders that are in our community are like, ah. So. One moment. Almost ready. There we go. All right, Los Angeles Angels are now next. I think Tom is still here. Angels still in their usual spot in the top, on the thick of it, 1 game back on the Astros at this point. The story most of this year has been about the new home run king, Mike Trout, who's knocked the cover off the ball 32 times still. And oh, by the way, Trout turns 40 next month, and he's still hitting 32 home runs this year. Jandy Ronson, 6-3, mid-3 ERA this year, still respectable. Qui-Gon Jim, 7-4. Maybe the biggest disappointment is Alejandro Rosario with a mid-6 ERA. But yes, good stories all around when you look deeper. Pat Pethel, the All-Star. Louis Garcia playing well from the bottom of the lineup as a free agent acquisition. Tom Kazansky's been very consistent in his time. I would say very cold and calculating, like the Iceman that he is. Down on the farm, just outside of the middle thirds, 21st out of 32. Maddox Gentry, probably one of the only guys in the neighborhood of being called up, but again, a guy who's kind of stuck against some guy named Kazansky. Yeah, Mike Trout might be trying to put the home run record way out of reach. For those who don't know or are not regulars here, the new home run king has 777 home runs. And he still has another season, and he has a 2.5 WAR rating. I think everybody would keep Mike Trout on that $21 million team option next year. All right. Introductions aside, let's now see what Tom Falsone has brought aboard for Los Angeles here in the first round of this draft. The guy voted most likely to be the next Arnold, Josh Schwarzenberg. 22-year-old from Santa Clarita, California. The right-hander was 8-2 this past year with a 2.36 earned run average. Had 117 strikeouts and just under 100 innings of work. Excellent 5-pitch makeup, sported by a cut fastball in the mid-90s. One scout has suggested, though, that if there is a negative on Schwarzenberg, he would grade out as a 5-inning pitcher at best. And a lot of that could be related to the injury that cost him his entire junior season at Azusa Pacific. He has rebounded nicely, and he is rated as a likely number 3 starter down the road. Josh Schwarzenberg, selected here by the Los Angeles Angels with the 27th pick. You're sandbagging an exile. All right, let me get the next selection ready as we will go to the San Francisco Giants. Second in the National League West. They've been kind of falling back a bit here as San Diego's been on a hot streak. But still 10 games over 500 and still having the best pure hitter in the National League in Cam Candela. And then the franchise, Michael Sean Kane, 369, 26 homers, 90 runs driven in. And yes, losing two-way star Jamie Thurman to a meniscus tear doesn't help. But Ethan Candela's playing good. Jacques Carini, 314 average. That is a career year for Jacques Carini. A 2.5 WAR at $16.5 million. Some of us were like, why did you sign him for that? But I think Sean's going to have the last laugh because he's got a 4.4 WAR so far on a deal that was $49.5 million. That team option's looking pretty good right now. Let's hope Sean can continue to do what he's been doing. On the farm, bottom third. Once upon a time, one of the richest organizations in catchers. Several traded away. Dana St. John is one of those waiting in the wings. Bino slams just outside of the top 100. That's one of PJ's community credit players. He might be seeing AAA action in the not too distant future. All right, time for the Giants to introduce who they will be selecting with their pick. It's the 28th of the round. The Giants will select the Magic Man, Eric Singer from UNC. He's a junior at UNC this year. Saved 12 appearances for the Tar Heels this past year. Two-pitch arsenal, but they are top end. Excellent pitch power. He will blow it by you with a mid-upper 90s fastball, but a slider that will be in the neighborhood of 90 is just as hard to contend with, and the slider probably graded a little bit better. This is one of the first drafts in several drafts that Sean Paxley hasn't drafted a catcher in the first round. Because he got Loki Swayman last year and Dana St. John the year before. And didn't you get Pat Pethel the year prior? Mike, if you want to put Singer... Yep, thank you. Just saw it. Someone do a wellness check and make sure he's good because he didn't draft a catcher. He has an affinity for catchers. '29th pick. And I bet they are really sad for having to make it, considering how this season's gone when they were this close to making it to the World Series as a storybook team. Miami Marlins got their first playoff berth in 27 seasons and got close to making it to the World Series, losing to St. Louis in the NLCS. And then it has just been nothing but falling flat this year. Eric Von Cola is still playing well. Red Ditt might be a little under from what was expected of him. Even more unheralded players like Dylan Humphrey have been underperforming themselves. Hint, Eddie, it's great when you have boosts available, but if you don't use them, you can't help your team out. Who knew that Seiya Suzuki and David Leal were what held this team together? I'll tell you who's not holding this team together, shootless Sean Clisby. Or most everybody in the bullpen. But offense has been scary. And you've lost guys like Jeffrey Southwick, Jorge Galasso. That has not helped either. Galasso was a 13-game winner with a sub-3 ERA, and he is done for the year. Which, maybe using the injured reserve clause would save you just a little bit of moolah. Just saying. Any hopes for the future? 29th. Couple of community credit players. That's Real Whalen, CCP, just out inside the top 150. He's got some boost to spend. And Parker Jacob, that's PJ's player as well. All right. Let's get to the next selection. This is the 29th selection here of the eMLB Amateur Draft. The Miami Marlins will select Mike Sanford from Marblehead, Massachusetts. He moved to California in his sophomore season of high school, and he absolutely had found another level to get on the radar as a first-round prospect. Grades to be a high-average talent that could hit for 20 to 25 home runs. The risk here, he won't be mistaken for Luke Leto, a reigning three-time Gold Glover for the Marlins. And frankly, I don't know if he will replace Leto, the former number 1 overall selection. He at least would grade probably average at best up the middle, but the arm definitely wouldn't make him a third baseman, which he has played from time to time. He's planning to commit to Florida State if he does not get signed. Mike Sanford, born in Marblehead, Mass., finishing off his high school career in El Segundo, California. The 18-year-old has been selected by the Miami Marlins. 3 picks left in the first round. Let me see. Eddie, you putting that into Stats Plus for me? We'll get over to the Texas Rangers. It's Sanford falling to the second round, but he's a good player. Huh. I don't know what that means, but I'll put your player in for it. All right, your player's in. Time to introduce the Texas Rangers, third in the division right now, but they started off incredibly slow this year. They were 12-12 in April and then went 4 games under 500 in May. Since June 1st, 27-10. Perhaps maybe one of the hottest teams, period, just in these last couple of months. But 51 games, they are 7 games back. They are in the wild card race, of course, right now. 3 teams will advance. All would be from the West right now. Vladimir Guerrero continues to be reliable right from where he is, and he is complimenting Lola Thurman, who continues to hit for average. Alex Lee, King Butchers Committee Credit Player, has been impressive continually. Jack Trainer, Buffalo Jack, also playing well in the leadoff role. Chuck Norris starting to come around. 6 roundhouse kicks into the night. But probably most impressive stat is Sharpie's Committee Credit Player Justin Sharp, 10-0 this year with a 2.53 earned run average. Doesn't hurt to have talent like C.D. Pelham, who has forever been a dominant lefty in our universe, and Bill McClure, who'll throw as many innings. He'll never have a start, and he will have enough innings pitched to qualify for awards. Texas, kind of in the middle with the farm. No talent really ready to go anytime soon. Couple are in the international system, but 3 players in the top 100. Haha. Norris drawn 38 bases on balls, getting the nickname Walker, Texas Ranger. Get it? He's in Texas. Can always rely on Tim for a good yuck. All right. 30th selection is in. Jamie Thurman's pick. Let me double check something for him before I do. Yes, retire now. That was peak. All right. Meanwhile, we'll only downhill from here, so let's introduce the pick. Rangers will select 18-year-old Juan Saucedo from Reading, Pennsylvania. Is a senior at Dallastown High School in Pennsylvania, where he hit .421 with an astounding 17 home runs this year. Confident defensively on the left side of the diamond, also adding above average speed and grades out with the plus power potential as well. If there's a hole in his arsenal, it's that he will swing for the fences, which will probably increase his K count. One anonymous scout suggested Saucedo will put up, quote unquote, Joe Adell-like strikeout numbers. Do your math. That was 200 plus Ks. Yikes. Help if I also show you the actual profile of the player, wouldn't it? Juan Saucedo, drafted by the Walker, Texas Rangers. 2 picks left in round 1. Then we have 4 supplemental picks before we are officially done our first round festivities. This is coming off when round 1's officially done. Okay. Chicago White Sox, the American League pennant-winning Chicago White Sox are now coming up. I only have one thing to say to you, Mr. Doran.
You jackass!
It's not laptop, it's lap talk. Not a brag, but Joe Adell is only 6th on the single-season strikeout leaderboard. Only. White Sox leading the American League Central right now, 52 wins this year. They have done it by pitching, both in the pen and in the rotation. Top to bottom, probably the best pitching team in the league entirely. And no slouches offensively either. Lane Staley, Colton Short, Pedro Serrano all hitting north of 285. Maybe the biggest disappointment for this team this year is Leonardo Broccoli hitting under 240 and only having 11 homers. He had 43 home runs last season. Chicago making a move recently in signing the Scottish screwball Marty McCleary to an extension. Since joining the White Sox, he's 2-1 with a 1.78 earned run average. That is better. Well, it's half the ERA it was for either Sacramento or Tampa. Oh, yeah, he's gotten much better. If we look at Broccoli by the numbers, he started at 191, then he hit 211, and since June, he's basically hitting much better. Whatever 41 divided by 150 is with 7 homers and 21 RBI. So he's hitting much more like what we expected from the number 1 overall selection. Hear the birds fiercely right now downstairs. They're going to be coming up soon, I'm sure. Just outside of the top 10 in the farm, Orion Kerkering, the real-life player's 6th best prospect in the majors, just starting his career off with us now. Luke Raley, another real-life player. And then also Tim DeGroat, who was expected to be the future of Arizona, traded here. And some guy named D-Block Dragon. A lot of youth on this team, but a lot of talent, and they are definitely one of the best in the American League right now. And again, can't be certain that they would make the World Series, but with a squad like it is right now, the potential is absolutely high. What will they add here with their first selection? Let's go check it out. White Sox will select from the 1.0 universe Carl Gross, a senior at Community Christian High School out of Stuart, Florida. Planning to head to Long Beach State if he goes unsigned. Gross, a quiet leader, hit near 500 in his senior year. Top-end hand-eye coordination, and he is a line drive hitter who will find many gaps. This is a guy that I think if he's not a number 1, I think he's a number 2 kind of guy. He'll absolutely be a pest. Now, the question is, I don't think he's a true center fielder. If anything, I think he's more of a right fielder. And again, he's probably not going to be ready to go anytime soon, but knowing the Pedro Serrano's days could near be done in Chicago, Carl Gross could be slotted for right field in the future. For those wondering 1.0 stats, Carl Gross only played 497 career games in his past life. In fact, let me see if I can pull that up for you. I'm giving you the warning. You're going to see Out of the Park 11. There was no dark mode back in that day, or at least I don't think. Can I make a dark mode? I don't think so. Preferences? Default. Oh, wait, there is a dark mode. Let me do that. It's loading the skin. All right, that's much better on the eyes, actually. Oh, you're not seeing it. Okay, hold on one sec. I can fix that. Here is Carl Gross from the 1.0 era. A 309 hitter. He only had 23 homers. He had 205 RBI. But a 309 hitter. He had a 109 OPS plus. But again, he only played 500, not even 500 games in the majors. He vanished for 6 years. I can't remember the full story why, but I think it was because he didn't steal and he also didn't hit for power. Again, just 23 career home runs. So what's that? About 7 homers a year. But again, why wouldn't you want this kind of guy? It kind of reminds me of Matt Watson, I guess. Now, Matt Watson in the 2.0 universe has not panned out well. But I think Carl Gross can offer a little bit more. Gross is the kind of guy that should have been given a lot more opportunity in 1.0. So my first prediction on a Carl Gross is going to have more of a career in 2.0 than he was given in 1.0. At least that's my assumed belief. One more pick before we are officially done round 1. Then we will go on to the 4 supplement picks. I will take the shortest of breaks, just grab a quick munchie, and probably help the birds get put into their bed, and then we'll go to round 2. Round 2 isn't going to keep looking over the team, so we're going to be a lot quicker on the second round. I'm just going to lose the jacket. I'll stay with this on at the least. All right, let me get to the final selection, and it is for the world champion St. Louis Cardinals. I don't think Anju will ever get tired of me saying that for him. World Series trophy is displayed right in the middle of the war room right now. So again, as we mentioned earlier, they are tied with the Pittsburgh Pirates for the top of the division right now. Continuing to run on all cylinders. The bullpen is doing well. The starters are doing well, and that is with still having injuries such as their top talent, Torrey Allenson, who won 18 games last year while striking out 230 batters. That's going to be like acquiring a free agent in the middle of the season if he can return to form. But he's still not expected back until right around the end of August, start of September. Shane Rodecker, whose brother got signed by the Yankees earlier, doing well, 312, 18 homers. Matthew Bellows, abysmal postseason last year, but showing he is returning to form. Hitting .303 with 25 homers. That leads the team. Acquired from Minnesota, the Demon Jorge Gavina with 23 home runs. World Series MVP Wander Franco. Kind of back to earth at a .244 average. Maybe he's saving it for the postseason again. Edwin Diaz comes in replacing Jose Leclerc, 37 years young and showing he can still do it. Maybe we'll be queuing up Narco this postseason again. Down on the farm, it's looking promising just in the top 10. Jeremy Humphrey is a 10th overall prospect. Bobby Colburn a 25th. Third pitcher in that in the top 100, Dante Gelsey as well. And then Shane Larkin, the community credit player of Jared Rollins and the son of Barry Larkin, also in the top 100. All right, time to introduce the final official first player of the first round. Then we'll have 4 supplemental picks coming up. Let's introduce the Cardinals' first selection. Cardinals will select catcher Jeff Jackson from Nixa, Missouri. Did move to Oklahoma and played for Commerce High School in Oklahoma this past year. Announced back in April that he had committed to Prairie View A&M for potential if he did not get drafted or signed, I should say. Jackson's considered the second best catcher in this draft, an absolute offensive talent. Respectable on the defensive side, but will still grade his average to maybe a tick above average at best right now. But he should have above average power and very good plate awareness to be able to drive his value on the offensive side. Jeff Jackson, a 18-year-old high school senior from Commerce High School in Oklahoma, will round out the first round. All right, one round is done. We have 4 supplemental first-round picks that are also being done in this format. Just seeing if Anju is going to put in Jeff Jackson for us. And after that, we'll now be a little quicker because we've introduced all these teams before. We'll now go to our first supplemental pick. It is Boston. It'll be Boston. Then it will be Houston. Then the Cubs. And Houston will have their third pick. Houston lost 2 players in free agency this year that warranted them that. Okay, thank you, Anju. Not seeing it on my end yet, but I'll give it a moment. Yeah, I'm still not seeing it. Let me see if this will help. There it is. All right, good. All right, to Boston we go with their compensation pick. This is for losing Danny Diaz to St. Louis. Let's see who they will select with their supplemental first-round pick. They will select junior pitcher from the University of Utah, Gene Farrell. The Diaper. I removed that nickname. I hated that nickname. That was dumb. That was OOTP created. OSA rated him the 6th best starter. Mid-90s fastball cutter. Also a solid sinker. But that is all he has. Nothing but fast stuff. Just one pitch moves left. And then another pitch moves down. Another pitch moves straight. But he's pretty good at all 3 of those. I'd say that if he could add a good off-speed pitch, then that is the kind of guy that you will call an ace in the future. But a ground ball specialist, that should work well at Fenway Park. Good stamina, maybe just a little bit of question with a little bit of a slow delivery to the plate. So he could be a risk on the running game, but still a good talent overall. Gene Farrell, first supplemental pick of the first round. Don't know if Billy is here right now, so I will put that player in. Or it looks like he did it for me. If it's letting me. Oh, he did it for me. Okay, thank you. That's why I couldn't find him. Well, it happened again. It happened again, so we're back to Houston, their first of 2 supplemental picks that they have here. This first one is for the loss of Joel Machado. So let's introduce the selection. Well, the good news is it is a correct auto pick. DeMarco Flexington, which is Tampa Tarpons. Sorry. Tampa's community credit player. Je suis fatigué a bit. Pardon. That, and I was also reading a long email text from my dad. With wings. Oh, jeez. The sophomore from the University of Tampa. Good contact skills, good speed, and good defense. More focused getting on base than hitting it long. A solid motor to improve the overall game, and only just turning 28 years old in a couple of weeks. DeMarco Flexington from Tampa has been drafted by the Houston Astros with the second pick of the supplemental first round, 34th overall. 2 selections left, and then we will take a short break and then go live. Second round will be the only other round we do tonight, and we have 37 picks to do overall in that round. In my Discord, Stoker, I have a section marked new community players. Yeah, what Minerva just provided. That's the entire list of CCPs. I identify if they're not GM or GM, because you got to play by different rules with the GM CCPs. Okay. Chicago Cubs are the next selection. Let's see what Diz has selected with this go-around. They'll select Mike Allman. He's a 20-year-old sophomore from Fairleigh Dickinson University in Teaneck, New Jersey. Left-hander was 5-1 in 11 starts this past year. A lot of people have suggested he will likely grade as a reliever in the majors, but a reliever with excellent stuff. Predominantly throws just a fastball, curveball. It's a question whether or not he tries to extend his arm. Ce n'est pas grave si vous êtes fatigué. Nous comprenons. Comprenons. See, I can't even speak French right now. The next McClure. I see this. I see this in this player. This is a guy who'll get tapped very regularly in Chicago. Mike Allman, mid-90s with a fastball and a curveball that is going to be top-notch. Good luck sitting back on this and knowing what you're going to swing at. Did I? Shoot. Hold on. I'll fix it. Thanks for catching that. Updated properly now. One pick away, and then we will, again, take a short break and go live right around 9:06. Good. I generally try to focus on about 3 hours of getting round one done with the pomp and circumstance. All right, final selection is from Houston. Yes, you chose the right one. You know what it was? It's the flex. Hello. Thank you. Yes, to be determined, right? Yeah, you know what it was? I just totally forgot there was a second Jackson on there. I mean, 820 players, so it happens. All right. Jorge Asensio is your final selection. I'll give it away right away. because again, I think I'm thinking break and I have to respond to a message from my dad. It looks like everything's fine with my mom, but he has something else he needs my help with. Jorge Asensio is your final selection of the first round, 36th overall pick. The right fielder from is it Raton or Raton, New Mexico? Well, either way, he's a junior at Ole Miss. 293 hitter, 15 homers, 53 RBI, definite power. Now, the thing I find interesting is that while he's a right fielder and most comfortable there, he's probably better in left field overall. But a definite power presence from Asensio. I could see Asensio clobbering the Crawford boxes plenty. Yes. For as frustrated as Ben was with this particular draft, I'd say he's killing the picks. Okay, so Cody, I know you generally try to head to bed shortly around this time. What I'll ask you to do is if you need to leave, don't put it on Stats Plus. Whisper me in Twitch what you want your selection to be, and we will get to it right then and at that time. So, again, round one is in the books. I hope you enjoyed the special coverage that we have provided of the pre-produced portion of the show. Again, many thanks to my daughter, Rocky Draws, for taking the time to put this together. She always does an amazing job, and I am hoping that we will brand out of the current format that you have gotten a little comfortable with seeing. And we are hoping to use some of that animated talent that she has so that we can offer a little bit better. And since I keep reminding her that I pay her to do this and will pay her more to do that part, that'll be more than worth it. So